Ugh, man, hang tight. Hang on. All right, guys, we'll get this thing started. Here we go. You know what the worst thing about preaching responsibility and looking in the mirror and not blaming others for your problems, and when something goes bad in your life, it's your fault and it's not anybody else's fault. When something goes bad for real, you can't complain about it. You can't point the finger at anybody else but yourself. Yesterday was a disastrous spilt milk day for me. We have many things we need to talk about on the show today, and mainly the election. But we also have to talk about Charlie Baker, our dad, our father, dropping the hammer down on all us living here in Massachusetts. We talk about Mass because I'm from Mass. But before I get to that, I'd like to complain. I'd like to bitch about the things that are happening in my life right now because I swear to God. No, I'm not swearing to God. I'm saying when I die and I go to heaven, me and God are going to get into a fucking fist fight. When I see him, I'm going to punch him in his face and be like, bro, what, like, lay the fuck off. And then I thought about it. I'm like, well, honestly, if you believe in God, which I do, I don't push religion on people on my program or ever. If you believe, great. If you don't, you don't. I do. I have conversations with God, and I get pissed off at him. And yesterday, after all the things that happened, I literally looked up and I was like, "Guy, when I come up there, me and you are fighting. If I get up there, I don't know if I will, but then it made me sit back and I was like, well, you really can't complain about things that happen in your life when you make your kids and other people accountable for their own mistakes." Because everything that happens to you in your life is ultimately your fault. And I'll give you an example. On Friday, on this podcast, I talked about not eating Mike and Ike's and certain hard candies, Halloween candies, because it'll rip one of your teeth out. It'll rip one of your crowns out. And of course, I didn't take my own advice and I ripped out a post and crown. And then I went to the dentist yesterday, and the dentist, great guy, told me straight up. He's like, "Hey, there's nothing I can do. You ripped out most of the tooth with it as well. You're gonna have to get the whole tooth removed." So now, yet I'm gonna have another tooth removed. I have like 5. I got no teeth, bro. I'm gonna be literally this podcast by the end of next year. You'll have to puree any food that I eat, and I'll be gumming and whistling and not being able to pronounce words because I'll have no fucking teeth. That was the first problem of the day. Well, it started like this. I went and had I written, and I know Dr. Leonard pretty well. He's like, dude, if you'd saw me in the fucking hallway, I could have told you that you needed it removed. But they did the x-rays and all that shit. So they had to charge me for that. $200 something. Leonard comes and looks at it. He goes, I don't even need to see the x-rays. He's like, you can't save this tooth. It's dust. You got to get it pulled. And I'm like, oh, so you're gonna charge me $200 to be here, and then I gotta come back on Wednesday. It's gonna be another fucking $400 to get this pulled. Nothing I could do for you, Paz. No big deal. I got frustrated, but I'm like, you know what? Ultimately, it's my fault. In my 20s, I had poor hygiene with my teeth, especially in college. It didn't get till about 25, 26 years old where I started brushing my teeth every single day and using floss. But at that point, the damage was already done. All I was doing was prolonging the inevitable of my teeth fucking rotting out. It's stupid. Kids are idiots. Men are dumb. Brush your fucking teeth, dude. I have to fight with my kid every day about brushing his teeth. But no one's fault but my own. And now I'm losing another tooth. It's getting pulled. It's gonna get pulled tomorrow morning at 10. No big deal. Whatever. The next step is I'm probably gonna start saving money and I'll get some implants. They gotta put a little shank in my jaw. That's the actual implant, and then they'll put a cap or not a couple of posts. I need like 3 teeth, dude. I need like fucking 3 teeth. I'm 40. 40. It's insane. But that's okay. I kind of dealt with it. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I can deal with it. I got to focus on what's going on with Take Junk, which Take Junk is an absolute nightmare. It's decimated by COVID. I'm doing everything I can to hold on to the straps of my business. That's probably going to go away, and I'll end up going back to work and being a fucking W-2 employee. Whatever. I don't care. I'll do what I have to do to take care of my family. I mean, I care, but or maybe the podcast will take off. Joe Rogan's going down. As my buddy Mike Ingalls texted me the other day, says Rogan's going down. Maybe someone who at Spotify will be like, you know what, let's give this guy a shot and we'll blow up. But ultimately, the problems that Take Junk are my fault. Anything that's happening there, it's either my lack of not working hard enough, or my lack of fiscal responsibility, or my lack of not preparing and being ready for something like this that led to something that happened last night. You know, the company kind of goes day to day. You got to get paid, right? Well, that's one of my first pet peeves about owning a business is people think they can't pay. It drives me nuts. Like I had a conversation with the guy yesterday and I asked him because he didn't want to, he was like, oh, I got to catch up with you later to pay. And I said, and I was like, I got to get paid now. You know, it costs me labor to pay the guys to be there, gas, the insurance, on the trucks, liability, but workman's comp. But then I got to pay for the dump. But to do your job, it might cost me $400. It might cost me $500. You got to pay me now. And then I just said to the guy, I was like, hey, I'm like, do you when you order a pizza and they show up, do you eat the fucking pizza and then say, oh hey, I'll get you later? When you go to the grocery store and you're buying something, do you get up there with all your food, $300 worth of food, say, oh hey, you know what? I'll get you later. And then what's worse about get you later is what I got to drive to you to come fucking. Do you think that does the fucking manager at the Moolah's drive to your goddamn house to get paid? No, you fucking pay him right then and there. Done. It makes no. It drives me absolutely bonkers in the working class industry of landscaping, construction, the junk removal, home repair, the handyman, where people think that they can fucking ask you to wait to get paid. It's insane to me. It drives me absolutely bonkers when you have to chase somebody for money. I performed a job you called. I performed a job for you. You fucking pay me. I have so many times threatened some people by saying, no big deal. You don't have to pay, but I'm dumping my truck in your fucking driveway right now. I'm going to back up and I'm going to dump this whole truck right here unless you pay me. So the reason I'm aggravated about it is because, like I said, everything is a cause and effect here, where yesterday I just had such a bad day that I looked up to God and I said, hey, bud, when I get up there, I'm going to fucking fight you. Me and you are going to fight. There's going to be fucking thunderbolts and fucking lightning because I'm going to dust you up for the shit that you've been doing to me in my fucking life. And then I stopped and I said, wait, it's not God's fault. It's no one's fault but my own. It is nobody's fault but my own. Everything that happens in your life is your own fault. I got frustrated and I can't come on this podcast and preach, take responsibility, preach, look in the mirror. What did you do to rectify the situation? Because that's really what life is. You are 100% in control of everything you do, and everything that happens to you is on you. And that's it. There's nobody else to blame. There is no room for excuses in life. It is your fault, period. If your teeth rot out, it's no one's fault but your own. If you don't set yourself up for success in your business and it fucking flops, it's your own fault. Hence, where I came into a situation last night where I'm chasing people for money because, one, I allowed them to leave and not pay me. I let them off the hook and I shouldn't have. Just like the guy, like I said, the manager at the Moolah's isn't going to fucking say, yeah, all right, yeah, bro, go ahead, go home. And then the manager at the Moolah's isn't going to spend his whole night calling you saying, hey, you went food shopping today, I need the money. And then the manager at the Moolah's isn't going to be like, all right, fine, I'll meet you in the middle of nowhere to get fucking paid and then make you sit there for an hour. No, that shit doesn't happen. So you got to have balls and you got to just say, hey, you fucking paying me now? And if you don't, I'm going to fucking dump this shit right in your driveway. Which leads to, when you're doing business all day long, so I do business all day and your account gets hit, and you run a card and it doesn't automatically get put into your bank account right away into your business account. Happens overnight, right? So I ran my account negative with the business that I had to do, but one guy was going to pay in cash and I needed it so I could put it into the ATM so that I can make my account even for the day. And I chased the guy and I finally got it. I got it around 5:30, 6 o'clock. And of course, I get to the fucking ATM and I put the $600. It was actually $780 that I put. It was six $100 bills and it was $180 in 20s. And I put it in and the fucking ATM ate the money. It fucking ate the money. And by that, what I mean is it took the money in, didn't credit my account, and didn't fucking give me the money back, and no documentation whatsoever, just a thing on the screen that says, we are unable to process your transaction. And that's all I fucking got. And I called the bank. I took a photo of it. I called the bank, and the bank lady was like, oh, there's nothing I can do to help you. She's like, you don't have any proof of the transaction. I'm like, what are you fucking talking about, lady? I just walked in here with my hard-earned cash, put it into your goddamn ATM machine, and you're telling me that I might not, well, we'll file a claim. I'm like, I can't file a claim. I fucking need the money in there now. I gotta run a business. I'm out here fucking scraping, grinding. I'm dying. And you're fucking telling me there's nothing to do. Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe you could go to the bank tomorrow and sit there. I gotta fucking work. Can't sit here all day and wait for your stupid ass guy to get in and be like, oh, well, how do I know this is your fucking money? Bro, how do you know how to rip your goddamn fucking face off? So anyways, at the end of the day, it's literally your fault. I was mad. And I'm looking up at God being like, literally like, hey, me and you are going to get in a dust up. Take me now because I'm going to fight you. I'm going to come up and I'm going to fucking unload on you and we're going to have a huge ass fight. I'm going to kick your fucking ass when I get up there. And then I calmed down and I was like, you know what? No one's fault but my own. So I take responsibility for that. And it's frustrating. It sucks. And my day's fucked up from it today. So now today, instead of getting right to work, which I will, I have to go take care of some shit before the bank opens. And of course, this bank doesn't open until fucking 10, which is ridiculous. Maybe it's like under the Charlie Baker fucking COVID laws where, the bank can't open up until 10 o'clock. I don't know. But whatever, I'll be there and hopefully everything goes all right and they can put the money in the account and it's no big deal. All right. This is Spazzing Out, America's podcast, where we take responsibility for our actions, where we look in the mirror. When bad things happen to us, we look at ourselves straight in the mirror and we say, what did we do wrong? What could we have done better? How is this our fault? We take responsibility for the mistakes that we make and we try to make them better one day at a fucking time. The podcast is done 5 times a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it's done in the morning. I do it around 6 o'clock. The purpose of the live stream is just to record the podcast. I record the podcast on an app called Anchor. When I'm doing the recording, I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, usually on Twitter, but I'm missing one of the electronics. Again, my fault, because last night before I went to bed, I should have found it. My daughter was using it. I have no clue where it is. I didn't put it in a place where I could effectively find it quick in the morning. So Twitter doesn't get it. And unfortunately, Twitter is the most watched. Usually I have about 300 people watching when I'm doing it on Twitter. Ain't happening today. No big deal. Typically, people don't watch on the live streams anyways. Most people are listening on one of the apps. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. They're iHeartRadio, Pandora. The list goes on and on. They're asking Alexa, hey, Alexa, play Spazzing Out America's podcast. Or you could go to anthonypazziali.com and you could click on one of the links and you get all the links to where you can find the podcast. Somewhere between 550 and 650 downloads a day per episode for the podcast. It's growing. It's growing big and it's growing fast. And it's because of you guys. But please go subscribe. I need you to subscribe to the podcast. All right. Some things that we got to get to today. We got to talk about Charlie Baker and our governor putting out some COVID restrictions here in Massachusetts that are almost laughable or kind of funny. I understand that the guy's trying to do his best to get rid of the coronavirus, but I don't know. His thinking on it is crazy. One thing that we must talk about is we have to talk about the election. And I want you guys to understand what to expect for the rest of the day while you're at work or while you're at home and you're following the news, depending on what news station you're watching. Either way, Fox News or the mostly liberal media news, you're not going to get fear and you're just not going to get straight up coverage. And I'll give you an example. The very first article I read this morning which is okay because it's the truth, is that Joe Biden won the quote unquote first election precinct results or whatever the hell it is of the day. This happens every 4 years. This precinct or this township, Dixville Notch, up in New Hampshire, they vote right after midnight, and all 5 of their votes went. These aren't electoral college votes. These are just a precinct. All 5 of the votes went to Joe Biden, and there's an article about how this is the first time there's been this kind of a landslide in the very first voting results in New Hampshire since Richard Nixon. And the liberal media is all fired up and they're fucking pumped up and they're like, yeah, we won Dixville. Dixville Notch goes to Biden. 5 votes. So it did 5-0. But what they didn't report is at the very same time, and they won't, at the very same time in New Hampshire, another township also votes. It's Millsfield. And Millsfield, 16-5, Trump won. That's a fucking landslide. When you have 16 votes to 5 votes, that is also a landslide. That's also an annihilation. But there is no big news story. There's no big article. There's no big hurrah for President Trump when he wins. And these little townships, they're like fucking nothing. They're like little blips, dude. They're little tiny counties made up of like fucking 10 people. Well, obviously the other one's got 16, had 21 people that voted. So let's say you got 200 people each living in these precincts. 5 people show up to vote in Dixville Notch. Oh, great. They all voted for Joe Biden, landslide. And that gets national. It's literally the first thing I read about the election today. Landslide for Joe Biden. But tiny, small little blip about Millsfield and about how Trump wins at 16-5, also a landslide, also an ass whipping for the president, but it gets tiny. I mean, it's like the fine print. I felt like I was Willy Wonka at reading the end of the thing, looking at T'Challa saying, it's all here in tiny little print. You stole fizzy lifting drinks. You get nothing. Good day, sir. But you don't hear anything about it, and that's what's going to happen all day long. All day long, depending on what you are watching, you are not going to get fair and unbiased, or you're going to get it's not. Yeah, you won't get unbiased reporting. You will get biased reporting. All day long, you will hear about how Joe Biden is leading in the polls. You will hear how about Joe Biden is winning. You will hear everything. Even, this morning, I read 6 articles that predict that Joe Biden would win. I did not read one fucking article saying that Trump would win. No one telling the truth about what's really going on. Here's what's happening, and I'll give it to you the best I can, best straight. It's a fucking tight election, and it's going to come down to 6 or maybe 8 states. The 6 states that it should come down to, really it's going to come down to 2 states, but I'll give you 6, or I'll even give you the fucking 8. This race, please understand that there are states that will always go blue, and there are states that will always go red. Like Massachusetts, it's a blue state. When you go to vote today, don't even fucking bother about voting for the president. You will. But the bigger thing here in Massachusetts, pay attention to the ballot questions. I don't really care what you do on question 1. You should vote yes on question 1, and I can get into that briefly. But you need to vote no on question 2. That I care about. We do not need ranked choice voting or ranked choice. It just yes, it's I think that's what they call it, ranked choice voting. But we don't need that shit. It's a tiered voting system where your vote doesn't count, and I'll try to explain that to you. But you must 100% need to fucking vote no on question 2. Absolutely not. But Maine does it, and we're gonna see how much of a disaster it is today. We don't need that shit. So here are the states. This is what you need to know. This is the fucking truth. Truth is, the election is pretty effing tight. Real tight. We don't know who the winner is going to be. We may not know who the winner is tonight, not because of any fraudulent shit yet that we would know of, but because they're going to have to be counting the ballots in these 6 states, possibly 8 states, to a T to know it, because it's going to be tight. It's going to be in one of these states, 10,000 votes that separates, 5,000 votes that separates, 8,000 votes that separates. The states that to watch are Wisconsin, Michigan, North Carolina, Arizona, Florida, and Did I say North? Pennsylvania. All right, so Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Florida, North Carolina, Arizona. There are 2 other states that could get added to that: Georgia and Minnesota. That's 8 swing states, 8 battleground states, 8 states. Basically, what does battleground mean? What does swing state mean? It's a flip flop state. One year it's red, one year it's blue. Next year it's red, next year it's blue. It goes back and forth. It doesn't have a traditional, this is a fucking Democratic state, this is a Republican state. Like California, always going Republican. Always. California always going Democrat. Massachusetts always going Democrat. Like that. Always going to be blue. So what it's going to really come down to is Florida, and it's going to come down to Pennsylvania. The 6 states represent 100 of the electoral votes that the president or the vice president need to get. Right? You need 270 to win the majority. Once you get to 270, it's fucking over. It's done. You've won the election. And Florida's got 29 of them. I think Florida has 20. They have 29. I think Pennsylvania has 20. And as you'll go into the night, and as you get ready to go to bed, and as you get ready to sleep, you will watch news stations focus on these 6 states, but they will mostly focus on the 2, which will be Florida and Pennsylvania. They will be focused on Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Florida, North Carolina, Arizona, Georgia, and Minnesota as well. That's 8 of these states. But the big winners, the big ones, if one of these guys takes Florida and Pennsylvania, it's a dagger. It's a fucking dagger. The path to the presidency would be almost impossible. Now, if they split, then you go back to the lower tier out of the 6, and then you start looking at Wisconsin, Michigan, North Carolina, Arizona, Georgia, and Minnesota. And they will be counting these ballots right until the end, right until fucking midnight, and right until the next day. Here's what's going to happen. And here's why this is a problem. The liberal media all day long will be pushing the fact that Joe Biden's leading in California and Florida. Joe Biden's leading in Pennsylvania. What happens when the media doesn't produce accurate information and they lean on their side is people will just forget about it, right? So, like, for example, let's say you're working all day long and you happen to be listening to the radio and you're a Trump guy, and you hear that Biden's winning and he's just killing it in Florida, and you're like, you know what, fuck it. Looks like Biden already won. I'm not going to go and vote. Do you get what I'm saying? It might deter people from going. They might say, yeah, sounds like Biden's winning, and no need for me to go and vote. Sounds like it'd be a waste of vote. It's not true. Get your ass to the poll if you're in Florida and you're in Pennsylvania. And I put this out there. Why? Because I can see the metrics of people that listen. And I have about 100 people in Florida, and I have about 55 people listening in Pennsylvania. I know it's not many, but I'm imploring you people that if you're seeing bullshit news stories about how Biden's killing it in your state, still get your ass out and vote, because your vote matters. Here in Massachusetts, it doesn't. In Mass, you'll go and vote. Biden will win the state without a problem. Here in Massachusetts, the things that you have to worry about, and like Ed Markey for senator, he's gonna fucking win on a landslide. It's garbage. The guy's the most progressive fucking dink on the planet, and he'll win, and he'll want to give all sorts of free shit away, just like Kamala Harris does, and your pockets will get picked for the next 4 fucking years until people get sick of having their money taken away from them. And one of those things is, you know, the capital gains tax that you guys are going to see that's in Joe Biden's tax plan, where he currently, right, they call it like a step back or a step based program, where if you inherit a property from your parents, they look at the value of the house now. So I take ownership of my father's house, let's say, and currently, when I took ownership of it this year, let's say it's worth $200,000, and then I sell it for $205,000, $205,000, whatever, and I made $5,000. You see, I would only make $5,000. I would only get taxed on that $5,000. What Joe Biden wants to do is roll that shit back to the original value of the house. Let's say your parents bought a house in Somerville way back 50 years ago. They paid $20,000 for it. You inherited it this year. You sold it for a fucking $1 million, right? Typically, the way it works now is, let's say you inherited it now, the value of it would be $1 million, and then you sold it for $1 million. Well, you didn't make any money, and you get to fucking keep all that money. You get it? But what Biden wants to do is roll that shit back and make the capital gains tax go back all the way to the original value. So your parents bought it for 50,000. You sold that shit for a fucking million. You're gonna have to pay taxes on $950,000. It's 20%, bro. It's over. It's like $200,000. Not over 200,000, but it's 200. It's close to $200,000. It's fucking insanity. And people don't look into the deep details of the plans. How's this going to affect me? It ain't going to affect you until your fucking dad or your mother dies and you inherit their house that they worked their ass off for, that they paid 50 grand for back 30, 40 years ago. And now it's worth 600,000 and you're paying taxes on 500,000 of it. Except for how it is now, when you get it and they say, hey, the value of the house is 600,000. And then you could go and sell it for a fucking 600,000 and you don't pay any taxes. So anyways, doesn't matter in mass. Biden wins. You need to go on and you need to look at the questions. The question one here in Massachusetts is the Right to Repair Act. It's an amendment really on the Right to Repair Act because we already have the right to repair. It's an extension of it. The cars are becoming quite like phones. They're all electronic, and your car can send data to the manufacturer to let them get information and gather information on your driving. It's basically like your phone. When you get your iPhone and Apple says, hey, we want to collect data so we can learn your habits so that we can better design our phone. They can do whatever the fuck they want with the info, right? They could sell it, they could figure it out. But the way they sell it to you is like, hey, look, we want to get you data so that we can make better phones and better apps. And everybody says yes. Well, now they're going to do it with cars. With cars, they're so electronic that now some fucking moron in India can be sitting in front of a computer, and boop, your car comes up and says, oh, Anthony needs an oil change. They send you a fucking email, say, hey, you need an oil change. They take diagnostics from wherever the hell they want, so they have all this information. But with that information, they know where you are all day long, where you're driving, where you go. They can look at the chart and say, hey, look, he goes back and forth to Wilmington every single fucking day at like 6:30 in the morning or 6:35. They know my patterns. I don't give a shit. They already know. You're a buffoon if you think your data is not everywhere. If you're on Facebook, you're on Instagram, you're on Twitter, you have an iPhone, you have a fucking Google phone, you use Google Maps. Bro, you're giving out all your information. It doesn't matter. I don't want to hear this bullshit. Here's what it's doing. It's giving, they're taking the info no matter what. The manufacturer, Toyota, Ford, fucking Tesla, they're taking your info and they're keeping it for themselves, and they don't want to give it to the mom and pop companies so that they can have access to the data. So I want you to think about it like as if you were you go to your doctors and your doctor uploads all the information about your health, and then you get sick in North Carolina. And imagine if that doctor couldn't go online and get all the diagnostics about you and couldn't look and say, oh, hey, we noticed that this. That's all it is. It's information sharing on your car so that you can go to any doctor you want to and get the same information. It's the same thing with your car. You want to go to your local mechanic. Your local mechanic wants to tap in to this information so they can say, hey, look, you got your routers done at Toyota around this time. Looks like you need new routers. Looks like you got your brake lines done. It's just basically they get all the information on your car, and they're trying to say, oh, the small guys are going to steal. Bro, anybody could fucking steal your information if they wanted to. You're not that important. You're a fucking mutant. Honestly, people are like, oh, my data. I'm like, bro, who the fuck are you? You're the fucking garbage man. I don't want your fucking data. Shut the fuck up. And of course, all data is for sale. We know that. You know it. They're going to take it because there is some good information there. But do you think it's more likely, this is my best part about it. Do you think it's more likely that Bob's Auto Repair, Bob and Son's fucking auto repair is going to sell your data? The guy, maybe he fixes 20 cars a fucking year. The guy doesn't care about your data. He just wants to know what got done on your car so we can fix your car. Or do you think Tesla, Ford, Toyota, or do you think they're going to use your information? They're getting it. They're the ones that are going to sell it, but they want to make it look like the little guy is. Bro, are you kidding me? The guy that does my brakes doesn't even fucking speak English. The fuck? So I say yes, give the information. give the info to the local guys. They're small mom and pop shops. They're not going to steal your data. If someone's going to steal your data, it's going to be Toyota, it's going to be Ford, it's going to be Tesla, because they know what to do with it. They know how to use it, and they're already getting it. So cut the shit. The next thing is choice rank voting, or rank choice voting, however it is. It's question 2 on the ballot. This is something that's really important. Basically, it renders your vote garbage. So if this bill passes, when you vote in the next election or the next election cycle or whenever, the way you will vote, you will have to vote for your you will basically go in and say, my number 1 candidate is candidate A. I like candidate B second most. I like candidate C third most. You vote for like all the candidates on that ballot. Let's just say someone is running. Let's say 3 people are running for Senate. You would have to vote for who you really want to win, who you would like to win. If your guy doesn't win, who you would like to see be the senator. And if this guy doesn't if your first guy doesn't win and your second guy doesn't win, who is your third pick? So you have to pick all 3. Then what happens is they count. They go to a count, and if there's not a clear majority, if someone doesn't have 50% of the vote, then they do a recount. Now, if someone has 50% of the vote, let's say Ed Markey, this is down the road, next election, 2 years, 6 years from now, Ed Markey gets 51% of the vote. It's over. He becomes senator again. Let's say Ed Markey, or let's say that let's say there's no clear majority. Everybody gets under 50%. A, B, C, they all get under 50%. They go to a recount, and what they do is they knock off they knock off the bottom guy. So the very bottom guy, he gets bounced out. This is fucking classic, dude. So let's say a Republican is winning with 49% of the vote, and a Democrat is winning with 48% of the vote, and then you have an independent that is winning with 2%, right? Well, what's left? 3%? 3% of the vote. They go and they knock out the independent guy. They say, bye-bye, Mr. Independent. That now leaves 3% of the vote left, and they go and look at those 3% people, and they look to see who their number 2 choice is. They look to see who their number 2 choice is, and shit, lo and behold, they're going to go back and they're going to say, oh, look, most of these people, it might not be true in every case, but some of these people who voted for the independent thought that the next best guy would be this Democrat. Then all of a sudden they do a recount, and now the Democrat goes from 48%, gets the extra 3%, and now gets 51% and is now the winner, hopping over the Republican. It is not the will of the people. It means your vote doesn't count. It means they're rigging the system so that your guy can't win. Your guy wins clear. It's like, imagine if you were at a fucking sporting event and you didn't win by 2. Like in real life. You know how in real life you're playing your boy and you beat him and you got to win by 2. And then you play all night long until he fucking finally beats you, but you've beat him 10 times. But you got to win by 2. Or best 2 out of 3. Best 4 out of 7. No, the winner's the fucking winner. If I win by 48%, if I get 49%, what am I going to tell that 49% of the people that their vote doesn't count? Go fuck yourself. Your guy won, but he didn't win. So it's bullshit. Look deeper into this ranked choice voting BS that they're trying to do here. They're trying to make your vote not count. They're basically saying who you want, right? Where they want to ensure, because what they believe is that most people who are voting for the independent would actually vote for the Democrat if the Democrat wasn't there. If the independent wasn't there. They believe that basically they're making your vote not count. If you're an independent, they're basically saying, hey, fuck you. Your vote doesn't count. So when you go and vote, we're going to wipe away who you wanted to vote for. We don't care who you wanted. We need our vote. So we're going to wipe your shit away and we're going to count it towards the next guy. It's garbage. So vote yes on question 1. Vote no on question 2. Honestly, I don't do whatever the fuck you want on question 1. I think you need to help out the small guys and vote yes. But on question 2, you most definitely need to vote no. It's basically the only reason I'm going to vote today. Because My vote ain't fucking counting in the other elections. My vote won't count in the presidential election. My vote won't fucking count when it comes to Ed Marquis' seat. But my vote will count on the questions. I will go and vote yes on question 1, and I will vote no on question 2. Most namely, fucking no on question 2. So there. All right, next thing, and then we got to get the hell out of here, dude. I gotta go to work. Apparently, COVID is a fucking gremlin. I didn't realize that, if you fed COVID-19 after after fucking midnight, and if you poured water on it, it'd turn into a goddamn fucking gremlin, and it becomes more devastating and more contagious and will kill more people. That after 10 p.m. at night, I mean, apparently COVID must be like a fucking teenager or a 20-year-old where nothing good happens, after 10 p.m. where they go out and drink, and between 10 and 5 a.m. in the morning, and they're fucking Looney Tunes. COVID must do the same thing. So I guess at like 10 p.m. So Governor Charlie Baker has effectively put a mini stay-at-home order. I mean, it's a curfew. He's put a curfew on us and said that we need to stay home between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. The only things that can happen between those times are if you need to go to the grocery store. The fucking grocery store ain't open, bro. If you have to go to work. But where are you going to go? No one's working because you shut everything down at fucking 10:30. I mean, at 9:30. You've said, this is great. So now our dad, my father, I'm just going to call Charlie my dad, fucking Father Baker. So Father Baker has decided that we're not smart enough. We can't do what the fuck we want to do. That we need to be locked down from 10 p.m. What an arbitrary fucking time, too. Just pull that shit out of nowhere. That all of a sudden at 10 p.m. at night, if you go outside, you're going to fucking kill everybody with your ravenous, we're going to spread this germ. But why not 5? Why not 5 o'clock at night? Why not 4 o'clock at night? What are you fucking kidding me? So from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m., you're not supposed to be anywhere but home. I'm not anywhere but home anyways. I'm 40 years old. I am. I could care less. I just think it's funny. And people must just be sitting back thinking like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? And I've been a Charlie Baker guy this whole fucking time, literally. I don't agree with everything he does, but I like that he's somewhere in the middle. But now he's just like, I'm like, Charlie, hey, buddy, come back. Come back. He must be having, problems with quarantine time. And he must be one of those people that's all fucked up from the new norm. It makes no sense to shut down the economy in Massachusetts at 9:30. It makes no sense to do that. There is no reason to shut down liquor stores at 9:30, to shut down restaurants at 9:30, to shut down businesses at 9:30 at night. There are a lot of businesses that do a ton. I mean, basically, you're not shutting down the spread of COVID, dude. You're shutting down the spread of money. You're shutting money down at 9:30. You're like, hey, after 9:30, no spending money, no dining out, no going out and doing business, no going shopping. Forget it. You know how many people go out at 9:30 to take care of shit? That's like basically the only time I have to do anything. I work all fucking day long. I'd like to walk up to the beach and get a goddamn drink at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. And I get it. I understand. Apparently around 9:30, it's like the purge. COVID gets crazy. When the moon comes up, COVID turns into a fucking werewolf. Fucking COVID becomes this crazy mutinous. It's quite like it's like Shrek's fucking wife. When it gets dark out, she turns into an ogre and fucking, oh shit, we all better go hide. It's COVID's gonna turn into this ravenous disease, and it fucking walks on its own and kills millions of people. The only thing, and at all times now, this is the best. And at all times, in public, on Friday, at all times we have to wear our masks. Everywhere we go, no matter if you're outside, if there's nobody fucking near you, nobody around you, put your mask on. You must wear your mask at all times. Listen, I am an American citizen, born and raised here, I am a free man. I would like to make my own decisions. I will respect people, and I do. If I'm within 6, 10, even if I'm in the vicinity of people, I'll respect them and I'll put a mask on because I am a respectful person. Do I think it's fucking working? I don't fucking know, and I don't care. I honestly don't. I just do it out of respect. I'm like, oh, there's a person, sure, I'll put a mask on. It makes them feel comfortable. But when I'm just walking down the street by myself and there's no one around, I'm not doing it. I don't want to put it on. I don't have to do it. It sucks to wear. And there's no one near me. Who am I going to get sick? The only person that's going to get sick is me from my fucking rotten teeth breath blowing back in my face. That's it. I don't have to wear a fucking mask in my goddamn car, and I don't have to wear a fucking mask if there's no one near me. But I respect other people. That's the truth, man. I have respect for other people, so I'll wear one around somebody else out of respect for them. But the fact that I got to wear it 24/7, I should go fucking put my mask on right now. You guys might, that'll be the next thing. Oh, you could get COVID through fucking video chat. You listening to this guy's podcast, you'll definitely get COVID. Now, here's the bigger problem. In this little bill, in these little guidelines that no one's really talking about, is the 9 p.m. shutoff for venues, restaurants, unimportant or non-essential businesses. It also is for your home. In this thing, at 9 p.m., all household gatherings are to end. Household gatherings have been dropped. Now you can only have 10 people in your house, but at 9:30, you got to send those motherfuckers home. Look, this could work. Wait a second. I just thought of this. This might work in both ways. You could invite some people over, and if you don't want them at your house and it's like getting close to 9:30, you could be like, oh, Father Baker said you guys got to go home. He's pissed. It's almost 9:30. Get out of my house. So I guess it could work in that way where you could kick people out you don't want there. You know, you have some people over. I'm just kidding. I just understand that it's now in your home. So I don't know how they're going to police this. I mean, I don't know if they're going to go, door to door and be like, oh, 9:30, you got 11 people in your house. Oh, shit. Just lock it down. Bro, I got there's 1, 2, 3. There's like 5 of us that live here. So I can have like fucking 4 people over. I don't want anybody to come to my house anyways. But the point of the matter is, it's my house. And if I want to have 10 people and I want to have a gathering at my house past fucking 9:30, bro, it's my house. It's my home. I pay. Here's the deal. If you come into my house and you stop busting my shit up, I'm just not going to pay my taxes. That's what I'll do. I'll start a property tax protest, and I'll get a bunch of people on my street and I'll say, hey, listen, we're not going to pay our taxes because it's bullshit. Because it's straight up taxation with fucking, I was gonna say without representation, but it's not the point. It's like taxation without freedom. You fucking in my house. They put this in this thing in your house at 9 p.m. All these gatherings have to stop, just like it's somewhere else, bro. It's my home. It's garbage. It's absolute garbage. So plain and simple. Today's a big day. It's election day. Get out there and vote. Please vote here in Massachusetts if you're a Republican, regardless of the result of the presidential election. It is very important that you make your voice heard on the 2 ballot questions here in Mass. Question 1, question 2. Question 2 being the more important one. We need to vote no on this bullshit sham of how they would like to rig elections with ranked choice voting. Look it up, learn up on it, understand that it basically means that your vote means nothing. It means they will make sure that their candidate wins every frigging time. Every time. If you're an independent, it means don't even vote. If you're an independent, they want to get rid of your party, and they want you to either join the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. They want you to join the Democratic Party. They don't want anybody who is not voting for one of the main parties. That's what ranked choice voting does. It makes sure 3%, 5%, 10% of the vote null and void. It bounces it out, and it takes who you wanted second. So it just wants to kill your party. Vote no on question 2. Look it up. It's very important. Question 1, like I said, if you're a moron and you think your data is not getting sold, then you're a fucking moron and I can't help you. The states to watch tonight: Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Florida, North Carolina, Arizona, Also, Georgia, Minnesota, the two big states, Florida, Pennsylvania. They will be counting the votes in those states till late into the night. The election will come down to those two states, somewhere between 10,000, 5,000 votes. Those are the ones. If you're listening for some reason, you guys look, I told you I get about 100 and something people in Florida listening. If you're listening right now, don't listen to the media all day. The media, the mutant media will push the narrative that the president is getting slaughtered in every single state. They will try to push it out there to make it seem like there is no chance for victory. They literally, I woke up this morning, every poll is showing that there's no way that Trump will win. You wake up, the first news story you see is that Dixville Notch is all 5 votes goes to Trump, but they don't report the fact that Trump won Millsfield 16-5. That's another landslide, but they don't report it. They don't push it out there like the president has also won a landslide. They will hide it. They will cover it up. They want to keep you from going to the polls. They want you to say, shit, I have spilt milk today. And I just watched the news and it looks like Biden's going to win, so I won't go. Fuck your spilt milk for one day. Forget it. Get your ass to the polls and vote. Simple. You had 2 months to do it anyways. Well, now it's your last chance. If you haven't voted yet, get your ass there and vote. Plain and simple. Thank you so much for listening to America's Podcast. I'll be watching the election all night long. We'll talk about it tomorrow morning. You guys have a great day.